It's not often I go into a bookshop without knowing about all the books on the shelf, and it's also not often I go into a bookshop and buy something on impulse. But I did exactly that when I saw this book in my local bookshop, The Athletic Brain by Amit Katwala, completely fresh off the press, and it's around how neuroscience is revolutionising sport and can help you to perform better. Now, when I picked this up, I looked at it and I looked at some of the chapters, and you've got some of the, some leading lights in the world of sport. Chapter 1 is about Cristiano Ronaldo, the football player, Mika Hakkinen, Formula 1 driver, Roger Federer, of course, from tennis. And I thought, well, yeah, I'm really interested. I geek out on this all the time. The shortcut to performance from sports into business, the corporate brain maybe, how you can kind of transfer this. I was a little bit unsure that I would want to go into that kind of level of detail, because let's be honest, if you're not a football fan, which I'm not really, why would I want to geek out on that? But actually, Amit doesn't really go into that much detail in pure sense about those particular athletes and players. Yes, he kind of darts around different areas, so I wouldn't let that put you off. It's not going to be a real case study about these players, but it is about their training and how they perform at the very highest levels. Now, what I know is that this is coming down the pipes. What we see in football, where there's a lot of money and a lot of reason to perform on a high level, the things they're doing there in training, in terms of some of the apps they're using, some of the neuroscience they're using, absolutely will get more mainstream. Yes, right now it might be a bit too expensive, or just within the certain realms of certain sports. So some great stuff in here, but it's only really in the sport environment at the moment. So that will bleed into what we do in a corporate world. So the corporate brain, maybe that can be his next book. I've already tweeted them, but not to suggest that. Could be the next way to look at it. So I'm about halfway through, and I've got absolutely no qualms in recommending this, even though I'm halfway through. I was on the train the other day and zoomed through 100 pages. It's a great read. Really think about how we can learn from sport. And I think there's a little danger that we don't learn from sport. Sport's not everybody's thing. It is mine. You probably know that by now. But I certainly think we can't ignore it, because it's about performing at the highest levels, sometimes for very short periods of time. So there is a difference between work and sport. Obviously, we perform at high levels, but we're there for 30, 40, 50 hours a week, whereas these guys might be 10 seconds or a few hours a week, or even over a 4-year period, how you cycle, say, for something like a World Cup or the Olympics. So we can't ignore it. And I think what's good about this is actually, whilst what it says in the tin about some of the athletes, it doesn't go into that much depth in terms of certain players in sports. So I wouldn't let that put you off. And I would certainly think about how the idea of the athletic brain can bleed and irrigate really what we know, and probably for most of you watching this, as well as your own perhaps hobbies and sporting life, is about the corporate brain.